Hey, hey. Ses deneme ses kontrol. Prova 1 2 3 4. Ses deneme ses kontrol. Hey, hey.
Ulaşıyor. Bir Nevin Hanım var kaldı. Diğerlerinin hepsini bulduk.
Sayın konuklarımız hoş geldiniz.
Esteemed guests, welcome. Please do mute your mobile phones because there will be a live broadcast and it could be problematic to have your mobile phones open.
Hoş geldiniz. Nevin Hanım geldi. Mikrofonunu acil takalım. Yavaş yavaş herkesi yerine alabiliriz.
Please take your seats.
Sayın konuklarımıza
Just a reminder, please do mute your cell phones.
maskelerimizi takmamız
And also it is quite important to wear your masks.
Ses. Ses. Hı, tamam. Kapatabiliriz. Tamam. Şimdi geliyor hala. Mikrofon sesi geliyor diyorum. Şimdi tamam. Tamam. Şimdi gelmiyor.
Değerli
Esteemed participants, we have a video to watch. Then after, we will start our live YouTube session. Welcome once again.
Evet.
Hello and welcome. It is such a pleasure to be with you today. And what about a strong applause to start this program? Welcome. Surely we do wish to have a bigger hall with more participation. However, as you do know, because of the pandemic situation, we need to follow the requirements of pandemic. We do care about the measures, and within the restrictions of the pandemic, we have such good participation. Surely, as I've stated, we would like to have more participants. And right now, we have participants through YouTube, and I would like to welcome them as well. Though we cannot see their faces, we do feel their spirits. This is such a special closing ceremony to be together today. Civil society organizations are the most important actors of democratic societies. They do gather people in a democratic platform, and they follow the actions to contribute to the democratic participation of people. In such a beautiful Ankara day, we are welcoming the representatives of important civil society organizations of Turkey, and I would like to welcome you once again. Today, the organizations that participate in today's program are the grant beneficiaries of EU departments support grant programs conducted for the civil society support. The goal that we are here today is to share our experiences and good works with our audience, and today we will have Bülent Özcan to ask our questions, and we will get the reviews of them on this program. Before starting our program, I would like to mention two important support programs conducted for long years by European Union presidency. The first one is the Civil Society Dialogue Grant Program in between Turkey and European Union. This is for the exchange of knowledge and experience in between among the civil society organizations in Turkey and EU. This is a grant program, and this program assists us to have the good practices of EU and also EU norms into our practices in Turkey. The other program that I would like to mention is the civil society support program. This is also quite important. I would like to give you information about that. The main goal here is to strengthen civil society organizations and support their work, and also much efficient contribution of people to the studies regards to civil society, and also strengthening the collaboration in between public sector and civil society organizations. These grants are transferred to the civil society organizations for their studies within the scope of Civil Society Support Program 2 and 5th Civil Society Dialogue between Turkey and the EU. Lots of works have been supported. Before starting our program, I would like to first invite our Director General and why we are here, what kind of supports, what kind of contributions that we have provided to the society. We will be talking about that in general. Then after, we will have the contribution of civil society organizations. So far, they have provided support hands to many people. And as I've stated, I wish it was possible to have all those people here, but unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we have certain representatives, and we will be hearing their stories, how they have reached out to people, what kind of success stories that they have. Firstly, I would like to invite our Director General Bülent Özcan, who is the Director General for Financial Aid in EU Presidency of Ministry of Foreign Relations. This is the new handshaking that we acquired through the pandemic. How are you? This is such a nice place, a nice atmosphere. You have supported us, and thank you very much for your contribution. Welcome to Ankara. Mr. Director General, we will be hearing about the projects and our representatives will be delivering their stories. However, the Civil Society Support Program, and what is the background of that? I would like to hear about this. Surely, I would like to firstly thank to everyone. This was a long journey, and we have the closing ceremony for that. This is a nice moment. We will share our experiences and knowledge, as you have stated. In Turkey, civil society organizations are one of the most important dynamics of democratic society, surely for democratic participation and also solving the problems of society. And we are here within the scope of EU financial aid. Why it is quite important? Because in Turkey's journey for the accession to EU, this is a very crucial point. Civil society organizations need to be included in this journey. As our ministry, as our presidency, we are the flag carriers of this process. We have developed certain programs for the civil society. We are trying to support civil society organizations, and also through the projects we try to include them to the process of accession to the EU. They are learning about EU process, and for example, they do observe the experiences and knowledge. In addition to that, they are strengthening their capacity in their activity fields. They are just disseminating the information and knowledge, and they are benefiting from the financial aids. And our goal is to include them in this journey. What about the background of this? Because regarding the NGOs, what kind of a motivation do you have here? When we just check it, together with the support of all institutions, we have analyzed our civil society organizations first. and we have nationwide civil society organizations. They have activities across the country, and also we have local NGOs. They have organization within a city, and when you just look into that, there could be a small financial assistance to these ones just to get the required activities. And we would like to have a network, surely. And we have developed a civil society strategy. We are trying to implement all our projects within this strategy. No matter what the size of the NGO or the working field, it could be women's rights, it could be the rights of consumers, etc. We have the same motivation, and we provide all the support to the NGOs with this manner. We are now having the closing ceremony for the Civil Society Support Program 2. And could you please inform us about the details of that? Today we are having the closing ceremony of 2 programs, Civil Society Support Program 2 and Civil Society Dialogue between Turkey and the EU 5. Through these 2 programs, we have used nearly 14 million euros to support our NGOs. All NGOs have this sister countries from EU, and in a theme that they have selected, they are implementing their activities. It could be climate change, energy efficiency, rights of people with disabilities, sustainability, entrepreneurship, anything that you can imagine is included to this program. And the NGOs active in their field have the capacity building through this program. It could be the children's right, education, we just liberated our civil society organizations regarding the choice of their capacity building programs, and they prepared their projects, they submitted them, and we have supported 30 projects. In the civil society dialogue, we had 40 projects, and we are now having the closing ceremony for 70 projects today. That's a great closing ceremony, and hopefully we will have many more of them. And if you do allow me, I would like to invite our panelists. They are the grant beneficiaries, and in different sections of our society, they are assisting different people groups. And if you allow me, I would like to invite them now. Yıldıray Lise, Nature Protection Association. He is the deputy manager. Serdar Diller, Turkey Institutional Responsibility Association, and he is the head of executive board. Welcome. Berat İnci, Food Protection Association. Berat İnci is here. Elif Yücel, Turkey Milk, Meat and Food Preservation Association. Welcome. Cesur Kurtoğlu. Another school is possible. He is the coordinator of Ankara branch. Welcome, Cesur. And Gökhan Fidan, Individual and Society, Mental, Spiritual Health Association. Welcome. And Nevin Kaygısız, Cin Ali Education and Culture Center. As we have invited our panelists and we have our Director General here, we will have a discussion regarding the importance of this support program. And we are closing 2 programs today, the contributions to our country and how important it is for the relations in between Turkey and the EU. Firstly, we will be talking about nature and the city project from the Nature Protection Association, Center Association. Doğan Rize. You have implemented the nature and cities. Could you inform us about that? Thank you so much, firstly. As an Ankara Association, I would like to welcome you all, as we could be assumed as the host here. In between Turkey and the Netherlands, we had a project implementation in regards to environment. Eurosite from the Netherlands. Actually, it could be regarded as a network. There are various experts here, and the goal here is to have certain studies regarding green infrastructure and nature-based solutions. It is we have targeted to have studies between NGOs, the NGOs, municipalities, the municipalities, and public institutions, the public institutions. We have created such a dialogue. Surely there were certain obstacles because of the COVID-19, but I believe that it was a successful project, and I would like to thank to the program and to the ministry. Our purpose is to develop a dialogue regarding environment, and we have succeeded it. Surely the EU countries give lots of importance to nature, and it is invaluable for us as well. That's why this is a very crucial project, I believe. Yes, here in our project we had the Dutch experts. Also, we had the cooperation in between municipalities from both countries and also NGOs. So within the framework of that, we have developed certain publications, and we submitted that to the project system. Regarding green infrastructure, we provided information to public, and also nature provides us lots of services. It could be named as from food to inspiration. And with Çankaya municipality, we provided certain recommendations to be implemented in neighborhoods. For the green infrastructure, I can summarize that as you do know, we have natural, semi-natural, and cultural sites. And for that ecosystem services, there are areas that we need to protect. We do know about green infrastructure, the construction, but we have green infrastructure already exists in the nature. And lately, for example, the floods, the droughts, we experience the impact of climate change, and it is quite important to have more green infrastructure investments. And let me tell you, as I've stated, we had lots of publications, even a documentary, short clips. We have publications on our website as well, and the target of our projects is also realized with a collaboration protocol signed between the Netherlands and Turkey. What kind of possibilities that we have in terms of collaboration in Turkey for green infrastructure? And we have developed a platform to have the contribution of our experts worked in the project, and to increase the capacity. As I've stated, we had lots of publications, and we introduced Turkey to the EU in we had an open-air fair to introduce our resources, and with the participation of over 6,000 people, we had this exhibition and they got information regarding the nature of Turkey. We had an analysis. I can say that we have reached to 1.5 million people through the documentaries and all the publications. Let's think about the Netherlands, Rotterdam, Den Haag, Amsterdam, and the population living in these sites have certain differences with our urban population, but having a certain common ground regarding nature and green infrastructure. And grasping the idea is quite important, and I would like to turn to Bülent upon all these comments, because right now main topic of the European Union is green. They have multiple meetings with the title of green and what is going on. Indeed, let me connect this situation with their project. It was a to-the-point project. It was quite competent with the new agenda of the EU, because last year EU had the new administration and they were quite adamant about certain issues on environment, and they had the Green Deal. From agriculture to transportation, from environment to any point that could touch the people, with being careful about nature, zero carbon release, more bicycle, more walking, more mobility areas, and also on the other hand, nature-friendly. Environment-friendly production in the factories was another goal. For example, while exporting a good to the EU, you need to just submit your papers showing that you are manufacturing those goods in line with Green Deal. And that will be a part of the policy. And Turkey is now developing that Green Deal of herself. Yes, indeed. And that project, this Nature and City project, was to the point to the Green Deal, because together with Green Deal, there will be also the green infrastructure, and green infrastructure is a new concept to us. It has been stated quite good. When we say infrastructure, it is construction, it is grey infrastructure to us. But no, it is not the case. Maybe I can inform you later on. We have this new program, Green Future. This is all about the urban areas, and I will provide information for that. It was a great ride. We have heard about the good projects, especially after Paris Convention and sustainability of green future for policies, for politics, for individual aspects. We are all on alert, and this is a great project to have actually in this environment, and it is a pleasure to hear about that. Thank you. And we have another project, strengthening the collaboration in between private sector and public sector. Welcome, Serdar. For the Institutional Responsibility Association, you have implemented a project to create a network for new collaborations. And also you have examined good examples from the EU regarding institutions and civil society organizations. What would you like to tell us about this project? Why is that important? Why have you focused on that? When we say Institutional Responsibility Association, we are working with business world, surely, and we do believe in the importance of having collaborations in between civil society organizations and business work. Actually, from past to present, all these services and goods are produced by public private sector and civil society organization. Civil society organizations do that. Civil society does that with voluntariness, and the service provided by the civil society is for the benefits of nature, benefits of our culture, and civil society organizations contribute in these terms. And when we say civil society organizations, we do remember associations, foundations, etc. It is not an alien concept to us. We had these organizations for 600 years in this geography with Ottoman Empire. Even there have been lots of associations, voluntary groups working for society, and in Ottoman Empire precisely we had these institutions to contribute to the lives of our people. And Professor Konen, for example, visited Istanbul, and they had a research regarding the associations in the times of Ottoman Empire, and they do enjoy it. And they went back to the United States. Since then, they had 26,000 foundations working like our Ottoman foundations. And when we examined our geography, we had over 40,000 foundations and associations. Why did we have this project? I would like to mention you about Ahi concept. Ahis back in that time were the craftsmen and the tradespeople, and they had the responsibility, they had the feeling of responsibility to do something for their people. Today's associations, municipalities, social security institution, Turkish Standards Institute, etc., all those institutions have certain duties which were related to the works conducted by Ahis of the time. For example, they examine everything, and people did believe in Ahis that much, so they have stated that there will be no problems in that city, for example, because the Ahis are quite active there. They will be dealing with that, and this concept of having the collaboration association in Ahis, we have the accountability, transparency, good management. They had the vocational training, quality standards, and fair competition were all included to the principles of Ahis, and those are the foundations of a good society. So I believe it's spread through our country for ending poverty, for ending famine. They have worked back in those days, and we are having advocacy over these principles. When did we have the first idea? In 1953, Professor Bowen had an article stating that business people's social responsibilities, and within this text, those institutional responsibility was mentioned, and I would like to provide you a definition. The use of financial sources not for the sole benefits of private sector, but using those sources for a much general contribution for the people of the society. And now major companies gives importance to the social projects, social responsibility projects, right? Yes, yes, indeed. In the past, I couldn't just delivered the message whenever I talked about that. Oh, okay, let's have a lunch and mention about that later. They were just saying that, but then after they started to say, okay, there is an interesting idea. Let's hear this man, and now we have director level contribution for the social responsibility projects, and I believe then it will be C-level. CEOs, CFOs will be contributing to the projects of social responsibility. And from our perspective, while implementing civil society organizations, we are trying to fill the gap of certain issues. We are working in our field, but also they are working and collaborating with local institutions and nationwide institutions. While implementing, we have realized that there is one issue that we need to deal with. Yes, we have the collaboration of private and public sector, but what about civil society organizations and public institutions? KSS Association had this important role to show us the way to fulfill this gap. Now there is a 3-pillar for the collaboration. From now on, the companies who are giving share to civil society responsibility programs, we will support their work, and surely they have provided us an important role. What kind of projects did you have so far, Serdar? What kind of initiatives did you take, and what kind of people got benefit from this?
Olarak direkt
As an association, we do not do projects directly with the companies. We provide consultancy. The corporations, companies come to us and they say that I want to improve myself in corporate social responsibility, and they ask for guidance. Yes. And we make a review through their activities, and we say that your core business, your geographical area will be much relevant with this type of corporate social responsibility activities. And we also discuss with the staff and with their stakeholders, with their providers, and with all the feedback that we have collected, we come up with some recommendations. Whichever one is found more appropriate by the company, they go ahead with that one. We do not do that. We do a mediation. Yes, under that database, when we look at the grant, there is a funding, there are a lot of sparkles, a lot of activity has been produced. Serdar Bey, when companies approach to them, they also talk to NGOs as well. They say that, look, there is such a funding, a grant, it is very much relevant with your field. Would you like to work with that CSO? So this also creates a nice synergy among them as well. As Bülent Bey has mentioned, in order to create that network, at the end of the project, we created another platform. It's a map. It is available in our website. In this map, you can find associations with their project ideas, and the companies can enter the areas that they want to work with. So this is how we can try to match companies with CSOs. We would like to see all your projects in that map, so we can relay you to the companies, to corporations. Perfect. That's one of the significant part of today. With Serdar Bey's information, I wonder how many nice projects will be sparkled from here on. And as soon as you add the word corporate, institutional, I would like to talk about the sustainability. Many things start, but when there is a organization and institutional level, there is more sustainability aspect. Therefore, it's a very successful project. I'll try to come back to you as long as we have time. We have another successful project, Bülent Bey. You are also following up with their projects very closely. Food Saving Association, they are working on reducing food waste. They have a capacity improvement project. Berat İnci he's the head of the boarding managing board of the association. And would you like to tell us what are your success factors? And what did you do throughout your project? Who did you influence and who influenced you throughout this process? And before that, I would like to put your hands together for Sardar Bey before we continue. At the end of each panelist, I will ask you to applaud our distinguished panelists. Thank you very much. We are all talking about the waste in food, because we are causing 50% of the total food waste in our houses. And another 50% is happening until it comes to our plate because of the supply chain or the lack of technology or because of some other insufficiencies. In the waste of food, there are a lot of things need to be done. When we start this project, we first looked at what needs to be done on macro level in order to reduce food waste. We look at different examples around the world, what has been done. Instead of actually writing our project according to call for tender, we actually, it was a very important project for us. Maybe in 3-4 years' time, we were now, the things that we will be able to do then, now we are doing right now. So, we've just looked at the reasons why we are wasting food in Turkey, because we do not know when, where, and how we are wasting. Sorry for interruption, but as a country, we are very careful not to waste. Even a piece of bread, we kiss it and put it in our forehead out of respect. We just turn off the tap in order not to waste water. We would wash our dishes in a container so that the water will not be wasted. Do we waste as much as an EU country, let's say? Turkey is nothing less than an average EU country in terms of waste. Because of the traditions, we are not very careful, maybe. In the United Nations waste report, now we are the third ranking in the world with 93 kilograms per person. This is a very striking amount. Even though in the countries which took some serious actions, they are not in a good level, because it is only possible with a collective development. There's a very large stakeholder map we've looked at in our project as well, because it is such a extensive area. When you look at the stakeholders, you can find all items of private sector. In the public sector, 11, we are now conducting policy agendas with 11 public institutions, how to prevent wasting, how we can create funding for that. And the civil society network, there is not enough capacity. It's never been established. Very few NGOs or CSOs are working on that. When we think all of them together, it is very natural that there is waste in Turkey. Everything we do in this project were the baby steps at the beginning. That's one of the important success factor, because there were areas which hasn't been touched at all before we start to work on that. One of the good results that we have is we did not have any results. Why? For instance, in Antalya, in hotels, restaurants and catering, we have conducted feasibility studies where, when and how much that they waste. We also looked at the symbiosis activity, whose waste will be the treasure of whom. There are so many missing data, we do not know. The local authorities, local development agencies, we talked to all civil society organizations, so we have seen that there is a big lack of data. For instance, the banana peel and its production in some other areas. So we created all these activities, but the most important problem that we have identified is that because of the lack of data, there is a huge waste. There are many good examples around the world in terms of regulation and regulating the sector. We have seen what has been missing in Turkey, what's been trying to be done. And civil society cannot listen to public sector or cannot really explain their problems, or the public sector cannot really explain to private. Are there any sanctions? We do not have in Turkey. And sometimes when company are even wasting, they can be given some tax advantages. So the companies are quite comfortable in terms of wasting. They call it regular dosaging. The bulldozers are coming and getting all the food and put them in a dumpster. Some important measures have been taken in the last 2 years, but still we have a long way to go. In our EU project, we have looked at what type of regulations around the world, what are their strengths and weaknesses, what are the weaknesses in Turkey, and we have also analyzed that what are the existing laws in Turkey which is directly or indirectly influencing waste. So we have created a map, and we have shared our regulation analysis with all public sector. In the civil society part, for the advocacy, we need to improve that as well. So we decided to create a tool so that it will not be only us raising our voice. If it is the problem of all of us, all civil society organizations should raise their voices. And we have organized an activity how to conduct advocacy in terms of preventing waste. We have created a toolkit. It's a pioneering example in Turkey, and we also worked on how, when, and where this when the waste is being produced, and how this waste can be an input for another sector, just like in the Antalya example. In our workshop, we have noticed that parties should listen to each other. They need to listen to each other. And as soon as they start listening, they start to talk about not the problem, but the solution. In many of the workshops that we have attended, instead of talking the problem, we decided to talk on the solution. Therefore, civil society organizations will play an important role. As long as the advocacy is being made accordingly and appropriately, important solutions can be created. So, we are providing some outputs, and we are following up on the results of our activities. Now we are trying to continue our project with all our stakeholders. We have organized events with large participation, everyone enjoyed, and maybe a progress that can be done in maybe 3 or 4 years is made in 1 year. You always want an executive summary about the problem. That association created such a beautiful picture of all the data that they gathered from the CSOs and the private sector and the public sector. They have also analyzed all the EU countries, and they have produced more than one report. Some of them are made some comparisons, and we are following up very closely. And also our First Lady, Emine Erdoğan, under her auspices, as we know, we are organizing the zero waste. It started with the environment focus, but now it is now covering the food waste as well. Our Ministry of Agriculture started an important project, the food version of zero waste. The Food Rescue Association, their analysis became very useful in the steps. We have submitted all this report to the public institutions, and what is even better, about food banking, a draft legislation is being prepared, and the reports are playing an important background in this draft legislation. Therefore, I would like to thank them for all their efforts. So we thank them as well. We thank them as well, Berat Bey. It's a very important project. All of the projects that we have listened so far are very important for our environment, for our future, and for the world that we will leave to our children. Of course, there are some pioneers in the fields, and they are inspiring. And sometimes we are inspiring others, but we all live in the one world. There's no competition. We will all do that all together, hand in hand, like all the countries of the world. And all the NGOs, and all the CSOs in the country is needed. And all the projects that we have listened are quite precious. And the projects awaiting are also very important. Let's continue with the next one. Setbir. I'm going to talk about Setbir. They have started in 1976. They have a very strong network, as you can imagine, since 1976. And within the frame of this program, they have conducted many projects. Setbir is the Association of Food, Dairy and Meat Producers Association, and they have Happy Husbandry Project. Setbir, acting General Secretary. So, the Happy Husbandry Project in EU and Turkey. Elif Hanım, floor is yours. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone. We are grateful for your invitation. As Setbir, we are representing dairy and meat sectors. And the topic of our project is on the animal welfare. So we wanted to increase the awareness in our target group, and we wanted to have better and more best practices in Turkey with regard to animal welfare. What we mean by animal welfare is their life quality, mental and physical health, and it's a holistic happiness. When we talk about animal welfare in the farm, we talk about adequate feeding. We're talking about wine, and wine animals are all covered. So what will be the benefit of happy animals? Happy animals will provide better products. So producers are happier. So if the animals are healthy, we get better products from our animals. How we make our animals happy? We provide them with better feed, high quality, to keep their stables clean, well ventilated, in a dry and clean place that they sleep, and they are transported well during loading, unloading. There are adequate ramps, so they are not being damaged by all these processes. We got support from our Ministry of Agriculture, and within the frame of our project, one of the most important output is to improve animal welfare during the loading or unloading of our farms. We created some guidelines. These are the first in Turkey. We have provided these guidelines to all our participants during our trainings. We have also provided trainings to our veterinaries, to the staff of the ministry. There were very fruitful trainings. Some of them had to be done online because of the pandemic, but we also turned this into an advantage because we were planning less participation, but with an online meeting, we were able to access a quite many number of people. We have developed a mobile application with regard to animal welfare. This is the first application. It is called Happy Husbandry Livestock Raising Project. By clicking on that application, you can reach our guidelines, the legislation. It's been updated on regular basis. You have developed this application within the frame of this project. Yes, yes. And also through our website, you can also reach all relevant information as well. We also traveled abroad to see the animal welfare practices in the EU. We went to Valencia, we went to Brussels. It was very fruitful to us and to our members as well. Thank you. In the grant scheme programs, when we have designed them back in 2000s, we wanted to include many organizations. Setbir is a very good example of that. Setbir is our best customer. Because what do they do to be your best customer? They took part in all grant program. They prepared the good projects. Now they're also existing in the sixth. The fifth one was with Spain, sixth one was in Italy. They partnered with an EU country and they transferred the experience of another country to Turkey, and they support their own industrialists and their own sector. Maybe this will be a very good example to all other sectoral CSOs. I would like to thank them for their efforts. There are some amazing opportunities in our country for our NGOs, to our SMEs. However, it is also essential to be able to make use of these opportunities. You should know, you should have an awareness. So the CSOs among us today are the successful ones, by the way. They know the process, they've been successful, but for our viewers, it will be helpful to explain. It is very important. There should be a project proposal, call for tenders. We do that every now and then on different periods, and we want our CSOs to come up with their project proposal, and this is how the process continues.
And in a way, for the management of a financial part, CFCE is taking certain roles, and please do follow the calls for tenders and projects from these institutions. EU norms are learned through these processes, and they do implement such norms and good practices in their activities. So this is quite good. And when we think that civil society organizations are the essential parts of our democratic society, here we have our participants who are aware of these programs and who have succeeded in those. But we also have people watching us, following us from YouTube, and in order them to get information with the purpose of getting benefit from these instruments and support, I do believe that this program is quite important, and thank you, Elif, for the information. We have another valuable initiative. This is somehow different, actually. It is about education, and we have another study with the theme of education. Limited responsibility Ankara, another education is possible. Roots and having the roots of democracy in educational institutions. This is a a cooperative with limited responsibility. Please enlighten us regarding your project. We can just have the acronym for BOM, acronym for it as BOM. BOM is an association. BOM association, when it was established, there was a model for the BOM schools. We are one of them. There are 4 axes of it. One is alternative education, democratic administration, ecologic standing, and democratic education are the pillars of our education. In 2014, it was established, and Curious Cat, Meraklı Kedi, was established in 2015 as our school. And within the scope of our project, by saying democratic schools, what are you trying to say? For 12th article of UN Children's Convention states that children have the right to contribute to the decision-making process. And by saying democratic schools, those children could practice these rights, exercise this right, and they could just raise their voices. And how can we do that? We have school assemblies, commissions, chambers, and children do experience that in accordance with their age groups, with the coaching of our teachers, with the assistance of our teachers to their needs. These children could just raise their voices, just search for solutions to their problems. Our school is also under the umbrella of Ministry of National Education. We do follow the national curricula. There is a certain order for that, but in addition to the curricula, we have platforms for our children to exercise their democratic rights. And what is special about our cooperatives? It is not just the teachers and students. We do also have the participation of parents. It is not a team, but we are a community indeed. And parents and cooperative just improve the process continuously. In our school, for the decisions to be taken regarding the school, students just take the decision, and for the decisions that could affect all of us, we participated as parents, cooperative, and students. There are models that we just examined before creating this from Sweden, the United Kingdom, and also from Germany. There were certain examples. We have cultural codes. We cannot just adopt a system directly. We need to update it. We need to adjust it to our culture and community. So on one hand, we have the democratic education, alternative education, and also for we use communication without violence. And the good aspect of that is that every group is like an organism, and they have practices in line with their needs. That's the perception. In the Netherlands, for example, there are different schools, and in the United Kingdom, it is also the same case. There are differences among schools. We have this standard education, and on the other hand, we have this Turkish system schools. I believe our graduates' stories could explain it. They just came across a canteen. But we didn't have one because we choose to consume organic foods. We do not have any packaged foods at our school. And whenever they tell about this situation, yes, people are surprised. I mean, the chocolate, for example, is a huge difference for our graduates. Our children have just follow the needs of their body, the needs of nature, and whenever they identify a requirement, for example, they talk to the administration. They have certain school exhibitions, for example, and they just sell the products that they have produced, and then buy stray animal foods, and that's just win-win scenario for everyone. Having sister schools from the Europe and get the chance to observe good practices, we had certain trainings, and with the collaboration of IDE. IDE is our Berlin-centered partner, especially for democratic schools, to create such processes. They have enormous experience, actually. So in order, they assist us to reach our goals in this process. And from the Netherlands, we have met 2 schools thanks to their assistance. We have contributed to their chambers, assemblies, and we participated to the kitchen process when we cooked together. And it was a great chance to see their practices. We do see how democratic all those processes could be. And for example, cooperatives and association structures in the school were shown to us. In how many schools are you active? How many BOM schools are available? I believe 4 or 5, because as BOM, we have the system created by BOM Association, but we do also harmonize and adjust our practices to the system. So we are sister schools, let's say. We do learn from each other, we do teach to each other. From Finland, there is a school type, for example, French or the UK systems are all available, and in order to have better education for our children, in order to better prepare them to future, it is good. It is quite important. And I have twins, and for my twins, for example, I don't want them to just solve multiple choice tests. I want them to be prepared for the future. I want them to take their own decisions, be aware of democratic rights. Yes, exactly. I mean, 2 aspects are quite important. Yes, there are certain topics and curricula, and it is not just theoretical education, but they have practice. One is tolerance. In our era, I mean, having hate speech or violence, those are quite destructive, and we need to have tolerance. Surely, tolerance to multicultural atmosphere, respecting differences, and living together. Co-living is quite important. Those are. Regarding ecology, for example, there was another example. They do not have any packaged foods. It is not just in the curricula, but they are presenting an alternative to the education system. Yes, alternatives are always good. Having different options could just shape the mind and help the mind to work in different ways. I think they just deserve an applause. And thank you so much for being with us, Cesur Kurtoğlu. Let's not just go far away from education. Education is hugely critical, and denying that is not possible. Is association for the individual mental health. They will be informing us about their co-project. He is the project expert. Hello, everyone. Ms. Oylum, as our association, we had certain activities to protect the health of society. We have psychotherapists, psychological consultants working in the project. We are an idealistic institution, organization, let's say. In 21st century, this is a fact. It has affected the history of humanity, and Turkey, this issue is quite important. In Istanbul, we do know that Syrian population is quite crowded, and we targeted the NGOs working with asylum seekers and migrants, Syrian migrants. We know that war is destructive. The traumas of war is felt solely in those individual spirits actually, and they need social support, mental support, also legal consultancy is very important to be provided for these people. NGOs deliver great services. However, those NGOs experts are somehow neglected because they are just meeting with vulnerable groups, and they are exposed to traumas. Secondary trauma could be observed on those experts, especially the interpreters, for example. They experience that as well. And we had supervision studies. We have analyzed the NGOs, and this is a co-project. And in Arabic and Turkish, this collaborative studies are named in one word. So there is also familiarity in to communities. We came together with our experts. What were their needs? We heard their voices, and we have reported the requirements. In our website, we have published that, and we created a guideline to work with refugees. What are the rights of refugees? Unfortunately, in a society, there is not a complete information regarding that, and we are just saying refugees, but they are not refugees. They are asylum seekers, and there are certain differences. It is important to have knowledge regarding that, so that there will be no problems at schools for those children, for example. And we had a structured group studies, and they got benefit from that because they thought that okay, they do understand me, we are somehow similar, they do understand the situation, and I am not the only one experiencing that. We had workshops as well, working with children with a trauma experience, for example, how to work with those children, war trauma, or we had different methods and tools, stories, or puppets, for example, just to reenact the situation and deliver the emotions. We had different methodologies, important methodologies to increase the motivation and understand each other. We had network meetings. For example, they just left the work and came together, had some drinks, and shared their experiences. They just empowered each other. Nearly 40 workshops and webinars were conducted. We have reached out to hundreds of people. We have published our social impact report with our supervisor experts. And our impact and co-impact could be observed. I mean, in Istanbul, Fatih, in Sultanbeyli, different sections of Istanbul could get information from these reports and adopt it to their neighborhoods. They just provided positive feedbacks, and EU supervisory experts also delivered good feedbacks. Surely COVID-19 affected all of us, including us, though it affected negatively, but we reached out, we were positively affected as well, because we reached out to people in different provinces, in Hatay, in Adana, for example. They participated to our online webinars. Surely there is always good in bad situations. We need to see that. Our work just touches the lives of people, and our association is association. Is means mark. We are just living good marks on the lives of people, so that's important. In the 21st century, yes, one of the most important problem is the refugee crisis, and we have integrated policies regarding refugees in Turkey. I believe your studies are quite important for the refugee relations between Turkey and EU. Could you hear Bülent? No, there is a problem with his mic. And surely, in terms of priority areas, we didn't have any limitations, restrictions regarding civil society organizations working topics, and refugee topic is one of the important ones. So, yes, we are trying to support projects in this field. It is quite traumatic, and Turkey is just quite sacrificing in this term. Millions of refugees are residing in Turkey, and that's a huge societal sacrifice. And in this field, many NGOs are working. And one of them is Association in Istanbul, in Izmir. Together with their projects, we are also contributing to the process. We wanted to support them, and we do believe that this is a great project, and we have heard about the results, and I would like to thank them for their contributions.
Maybe Turkey is not the richest country in the world, but we have the richest heart. Maybe our people have the richest heart. We are having 4 million migrants, and there is that tragedy right across our borders. We could not turn a blind eye to the pain over there. Of course, what Turkey do is what was the right thing to do, but these integration programs are important from two respects. Again, we have listened to a very important project, therefore we would like to applaud our CSO with their successful project. Dear viewers, I cannot talk to them, but the participants among us today. So, how did you find the projects that you have listened so far? All of them are very special, right? All of them are very unique, and aren't they? We're so glad that you are here. We are so glad that you put your hearts and minds into this. We're so glad that you are in search of the right funding and right way of putting this into action. So, last but not the least, we have another project with regard to training and education. As you know, it's a cross-cutting issue in all walks of life. So let's continue with training. Cinali, Training and Cultural Foundation, Cinali. Cinali is a cartoon character which is generally used to teach how to read and write to first graders in Turkey. Cinali, Educational Cultural Foundation. Present, you have created a project. Can you talk about your project a little bit more in detail? It started from one part of our museum. I'm the head of the foundation, but I am Suna in Cinali books, because Cinali books are known to be certain characters, and Suna was one of the characters, and it's named after me. Cinali is the work of my father, so let's keep our hands for your father. These were very nice books, very small. We used to learn how to read and write. Cinali was throwing the ball to Suna, Suna was taking the ball, and it's such an important heritage, right? Yes. Of course, Cinali does not belong to me or our family anymore. It's a part of our society. It's a cultural heritage now. So we are quite new as a foundation. We were established in 2016. And ever since we are working on the library for Cinali, we are working for the foundation of Cinali. We are having some cultural activities. We have started our work even before we have opened up our museum. While we were still working on the design of the museum, we decided to have a part with regard to my mother. My mother was a teacher too, the mother of Cinali. Is one of the first village teachers, and my mother was one of the also the first teachers for visual impaired students, and for 10 years she worked with blind people, with blind students, and we still talk to the students of my mother even today. When we also decided to have a section in our museum with regard to visually impaired students or people. When we prepared that, we had this grand scheme and we turned this into a project. It was going to be a small part of the project, but we turned this into an overall project which, for the entire country, and we are so happy about it because throughout this project we've learned a lot. So what is this project is all about? While we were preparing this corner, we have understood that the blind people did not read generally when they were students because they were not Braille ready. And until 2019 we never thought to create a Braille version of Ginelli series. And then we have decided how can we make a difference in the education of visually impaired students. So when we have started our project, many of you, know, in Ginelli books there is the writings on the bottom and the drawings are on the top. So when we do just a Braille version, then we have decided it's a different story. It will require some other design feature. So we have created some reliefs of the Ginelli books, and of course we got permission from the Ministry of National Education. We have created this relief for all schools. We have distributed this Ginelli books to all primary school students with Braille alphabet. Apparently Braille alphabet is different in different parts of the world. Yes, especially in abbreviations there are some differentiations, because if you show everything with each letter, there are different challenges of Braille alphabet, right? It is not very easy to read. Probably you will know it better. Yes, you need to know how to read Braille because it's very long. It's a special paper, and there are 5 types of abbreviation. You read each letter. So it's a very important project. It's not just putting that into Braille alphabet. Yes, we work with blind teachers, and also we work with publishers. And we also had Ayşe Nur Hanım from the Special Education Department of the Ministry. So there are 17 schools for visually impaired schools. These are affiliated to the government. These are the government schools. And so there are some private schools. They have visually impaired students, but they are not specific schools for visually impaired. But the government has 17, and we have distributed this to all of them. Sorry if I just talk a little bit too much whenever it is Ginelli. I'm very eager. We also adapted different reading tools to blind people as well. I particularly use the word blind. They don't want to be called handicapped or disabled. They say this is not a disabled, this is a well-being. We just try to be kind, so we use disabled or visually impaired. But there are different versions, so they want to be called as blind. So we learned a lot thanks to this project. So we talk to teachers, we work with students, We have sent questionnaires to the 17 schools, and according to their feedback, we have created an impact analysis result. This report is available in our website. Of course, there are some official remarks. But what was striking is that we did not know anything. We thought we know them, thanks to my mother, but we found out that we do not. Are your father still alive? No, unfortunately, we lost him quite early on, and we lost our mom in 2017 as well. Sorry for your loss. Can I have some water? Let me talk about the sustainability aspect of our project, because these are all interconnected. Sustainability is important in two aspects. These tools created a difference in the lives of blind students, because the books for blind people are in the A4 size. These are big. I don't know if it mattered to you, the shape, the paper, but everything is important. It creates an impact on us. And these big books are hard to carry for small children. And we publish generally in the regular size, the regular size, that is for the first time, the blind children have the same size and shape of book with the seeing child. And they were able to put it there in their bags to carry, because the others are so big and they're heavy, they cannot be carried back and forth. So we thought that people are born blind, but there are many people who are losing their sight afterwards, and they need to learn Braille alphabet. Yes, technology is quite helping today with the computers. There are some audio programs, but learning and using Braille is a whole different story. During our project, we have concluded our section in our museum as well. All these tools are displayed over there. This was a one-year project, and that year we have sent this to all schools. But teachers were a little bit timid to use these tools, because these are very valuable. You cut the sentences and you produce different words and you make different sentences, but teachers were a little bit careful not to cut them, because they never know that the new ones will come or not. We won't give it to students because we need to use them next year as well. So we have to make it sustainable, not only for Cinali, but for all this type of books. Ministry of National Education needs to sustain this type of activities for blind students, because sometimes people think that it's always been this way, so it will continue to be that way as well. But no, our government, our state is able to sustain this type of activities. We have created our museum, and this is not only for blind, this is all for seeing or non-seeing folks. When we explain all these tools and everything, the schools are visiting our museum. We are asking them how to write a letter with Braille alphabets. And our museum director, she learned Braille alphabet because there are blind pen friends. So letters are coming and we reply to those letters. So I'm sure they get so happy. Of course they are. It's the light to their life. So they are connected through Cinali, and they really like to come to our museum. Unfortunately, we also have witnessed that certain activities are just there for just to show off or just to pretend as if they did do something. But if you think a little bit more in detail, if you're a little bit more elaborate, then you can come up with very good results. So we are telling about our project to everyone in our museum in Ankara, in Bülten Sokak number 32. That's a little bit advertisement about our project. This is not advertisement, this is a very valuable information about your museum needs to be known. So our viewers, and I'm sure our participants among us today, will be very much interested to come to your museum. It's a very essential museum project. So we are in our last 15 minutes. We would like to receive your questions in the last 15 minutes, but I would like to give floor to Bülent Bey to just give us a overall remark. Cinali Educational and Cultural Foundation, when we have seen this project and when they were among the list of the ones which are awarded, we got so happy, we got so excited. Because I'm sure everyone here today, or among our viewers, we are all very familiar with Cinali. It's a part of our life. And supporting this project will be a way of paying back to what Cinali has given to us in all our childhood. I strongly advise everyone to visit that museum in Kızılay Bülten Sokak number 32. The family has put forward a very good result as a foundation. I'm sure you will go back to your childhood. Maybe you should go with your children. The creator of Cinali, Rasim Kaygusuz, we have to remember him. May his soul rest in peace. One individual can change the entire society. And one move by Cinali transformed many generations and contributed a lot to the education of our country. Yes, we are coming to the end of a long journey. We have started this journey back in 2018. We called for tenders in February, and 2018 was with evaluation, and 2019 was implementation. Then pandemic started, and despite the difficulties of this pandemic, none of our CSOs give up on their project. Even though all these problems, and they continued and they completed their projects. Therefore, I would like to thank them all for their eagerness. We are completing 70 projects today, but that doesn't mean that we are at the end of our journey. We are finalizing Civil Society Dialogue, Civil Society Support Program 2 or the Civil Society Dialogue 5, but we have started again in April. So we have another 70 projects with they are still being implemented. Therefore, our journey continues. There's an even implementation phase. One is ending, one is starting. We will have different grant programs, especially this year, before the end of this year, or maybe at the beginning of next year. There will be 2 grant schemes. Maybe this will be an inspiration for those who have new project ideas. The first one is about civil participation, especially to enable civil society's role and improve their role in decision-making mechanism in the municipal associations or in larger organization, to increase the participation of civil society in decision-making. So it's a 3.6 million euros of a resource. So this will be for small CSOs, and the larger CSOs will be benefiting from this grant scheme. They should act together with a local authority. They should work with a municipality to be able to participate in this project. So when CSOs work with municipality, they will resolve some societal problems together. Maybe they will raise their voices even higher in the municipal councils or the city councils. So it is an important project which has no limitation in the topics, aiming to increase the participation of civil society in the decision making. UNDP will be supporting us. Turkish Union of Municipalities will be supporting us a lot. Ministry of Environment and Urbanization, Local Authorities General Directorate will be with us. We prepare our call for tenders before the end of this year, so stay tuned. This will be a new opportunity. The second topic is a green future. Green Future is the name of our grant scheme. It was similar with the one that it is the continuation of the one that we have with the City to Winning. In the Green Future program, we want cities to be matched with EU member cities to work together for a green future. Again, it can be in all walks of life as long as it contains green or nature preservation, climate change, protection of environment, energy efficiency. As long as they have such aspects, they're eligible. When two municipalities and two local authorities come together, we want an NGO to be involved as well, as a CSO to be involved as well. So it's an important element for the CSOs among us today. So two call for tenders are being prepared. We will act together with the Turkish Union of Municipalities, and this is an open call for civil society organizations. In a very short time, we will be able to provide new opportunities for our CSOs. We are negotiating with EU for some other grant programs as well, and starting next year, we will let you know about the future possibilities. I'm sure civil society organizations here today and in front of their screens will have an opportunity to use these funds. So,
do we have any questions from the audiences? I would like to see your hands if you have any questions. Just one small request. In order to have more questions and provide opportunity for the answers, please do ask brief questions and get brief answers. Hello, İsmail Gökhan Deniz from Antalya Association for Protection of Biodiversity. We have conducted a project. I don't know if you get any comments or questions. I have one comment. Civil society organization is quite important, and these two programs contributed a lot to our studies. In order to realize our work, the first thing that we do is to go and look for funds. We need to find financial assistance first, but what we do first, especially for the civil society dialogue, we are working with Ministry of Foreign Affairs nearly for 6 years and getting funds. And I do believe that NGOs are the ones who could get affected negatively from the problems that the senior management could be affected. We are not such a rich country, but we have lots of richness in our country as well. In order to protect our biodiversity, we have worked with endemic plants, and we need to just inform public institutions, because forestry officials, for example, they would like to have some other studies there, but we need to protect the biodiversity and endemic plants. We need to inform them. CFCE is also another important institution that we work with for the financial management of these projects, but volunteerness is the key, actually, for the continuity of this process. Civil society support programs continuity and civil society dialogue, and also the presidency of EU within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are crucial we have our PhDs, and the EU legislation was quite complex, but they have simplified the language for us to understand it deeply. What we need is to have people from our own society to enlighten us, to inform us, to provide information. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this nice comment. We have one question, I believe. Yes, please, gentlemen, welcome. How are you? Thank you, Nurettin Konaklı. I am from the Development Agency Association. Thank you so much for this nice meeting. Regarding AHİS, it was a nice narrative, and indeed that institutional principles that the gentlemen have mentioned are required, are a must for today, for the encouragement of improvement for the refugees and for our society, and we would be happy to have contributions to this concept. Is it possible? Thank you for the question. Indeed, one of the most important studies of us is that we visit Anatolia, we inform people regarding that institutional responsibilities, and what are the institutional social responsibilities. We inform them, and business people say, one of them says, we know how to spend the money. If you know how to earn it, please just inform us about that. Whenever I tell them about social responsibility, we get such responses. However, whenever I tell them about Anatolian AHİ concept, yes, we are interacted quite easily with them. I mean, maybe with a much concrete project, it would be great. This year was actually announced as AHİ year, and we will have AHİ week in September. So if you can just follow that, there will be some beneficial information for you. That's a tip for you then. Yes, I'm giving a tip now. Civil society needs to gain some impedance regarding institutionalization, and a new generation would like to work with you. They don't want to make plaza people rich. They would like to make you rich. They would like to work with you to earn money, and civil society waits for you to collaborate. Thank you. Please just introduce yourself first and your question. Thank you so much for this nice presentation. Feridun Ekmekçi from Muğla. For the we have. I am the expert to develop strategies for cyclists in order to gain energy efficiency. We will try to realize some of our projects in the following years. For healthy schools, we are working on a network with Brussels University. We would like to work with our young colleague in terms of schools, and as cyclist strategy development expert, I am a cyclist as well. We are living in a minimalist style, and we need good representatives. We need representatives from good practices. I mean, whenever we say cycling, Tour de France is one of the tours that we recall, and it is quite important in terms of tourism as well, right? Yes, there is European Mobility Week, and in that week we are conducting huge campaigns with Turkish Union of Municipalities. With our municipalities, they are competing to have project ideas, we will choose good projects and submit it. So cycling is bicycles is one of the most important agendas of our country as well. How many kilometers? I am teaching at Muğla University. We are using bicycles. Whenever it is summer, we are just having tours. We are conducting tours and also congresses to inform people. And with the European Commission's representatives, we are in touch with them. 46 days it takes. Bike for Europe now move. That is the name of the project. We are paying importance to bicycle, but many cyclists lost their lives because of traffic accidents, and that's why we think that it is important to have institutionalization in this area. We need to have collaborations for raising awareness. Thank you so much. Another question? Hello. Cafer Yıldırım. Welcome, Cafer. Surely since the presidency of Bülent for the agency, we have started to work for Erasmus program, and now I'm in Eskişehir University as I'm teaching there. And for blood donation, we had an important project. We have improved that, and in the European Commission, we were awarded as an inspirational project. In 2016, we have started the project, and with the outcomes of that, we provided certain messages to youngsters and adults to raise awareness on blood donation. We have developed a game as well, and thanks to that, we worked with Turkish Red Crescent, and nearly 40% awareness have been raised thanks to these efforts. And Yıldırım is also here. Whenever he visited us in Eskişehir and delivered the story, we started to work on this issue. And I would like to thank Bülent. You have mentioned about 2 calls for civil society support programs. And there were comprehensive calls in 33 areas. Will it be in the same way for the following dialogues and programs, or will there be any changes? Because we have a project in which we hope to get financial assistance. Indeed, in terms of using EU financial assistance, we are now in a different stage. Now we will start the 2021-2027 period. We took the EU legislation as the basis, so we do not have any limitations regarding the topic choice for your studies. And generally, those are the topics that could cover the majority of the society. And whenever we took a theme for our EU accession process, it could be health, it could be education, it could be another topic, because all those are in the EU accession process topics. But there are also horizontal topics that you need to touch upon. For example, gender equality, respect to human rights, respect to environment. Those could be the examples. And EU's main policy is to have those horizontal topics. Green Deal. You need to touch upon Green Deal in whatever the topic is your project is. And the other thing is digitalization. So all the projects need to have a digital aspect for the implementation. So those two horizontal aspects needed to be included. Green Deal and digitalization. In our implementation, there will be no differences. However, whatever the topic is your project, please do touch upon these two issues. Thank you to Mr. Bülent and our panelists for their contributions. Could you please allow me for a brief question? Please, just one sentence. Esteemed Director General, civil society organizations are important steps for the EU accession. Do you wholeheartedly believe that Turkey will be part of the EU? And if you do allow me, I have another question. Please, we have just concluded our time. The essential problem is to touch upon Green Deal, and unfortunately, we do see in our country that in the past, state was protecting our green areas against people, but now people are protecting green areas against the state. They are trying to protect it. And what are your opinions regarding this? Thank you. Thank you. Quite briefly, for EU accession process, if we do not believe that, we shouldn't be just practicing all those things. I mean, majority of our colleagues, as far as I know, would like to have this. And yes, we are focusing on the outcome. However, the process is also quite important. This is a process that we need to implement, and there are no problems. Green deals and green issues, yes, a state has certain policies, and I believe we can discuss that in detail, but we have concluded our time. This is a long journey, and it requires lots of efforts. It requires patience. And our civil society organizations succeeded, actually. For the implementation periods of those projects, they put all the efforts, all the best efforts, and I would like to thank them for their contribution, efforts, and patience. But there are some other institutions that we work together. The European Commission, EU delegation to Turkey, and CFCU, and surely within the presidency of EU, we had the team who dealt with those projects as their babies. I would like to thank to those experts. We have technical assistance team. They also put great efforts to those projects, and I would like to thank to everyone who contributed to the process. I would like to thank you to our panelists and our participants in here and in YouTube, and we are concluding the program. But before that, we would like to thank you too as well. Within the pandemic process, you just accepted our offer and came to Ankara from Istanbul. You assisted us to share our experiences, and in our previous meeting we were together as well. But the life is changing, and now we are, yes, you said digitalization, and we are now having the digitalization here because we have the YouTube broadcast as well. We have one gift to you on behalf of all grant beneficiaries and our institution. Thank you, Bülent. It was a great pleasure to be a part of this process and to be with you. Thank you. Thank you, and please come here, our panelists, and have a family photo. I would like to thank everyone